Those of you following the news this week in Perth will know that authorities revealed some pretty chilling details about a would-be child abductor whose detailed plot to take a child and detain them for his own revolting purposes was thankfully disrupted before he could execute his plan. Now, one of the facts of the case that I picked up on was the discussion about the offender having attempted to import a child sex doll, which is illegal here in Australia. And that was the original incident that triggered a broader police investigation into the man and ultimately his arrest and imprisonment on multiple child exploitation charges. And when they went into his home, they discovered in his bedroom one of these very lifelike dolls, which can actually be augmented with AI and talk features. And so I thought I want to talk and take that factor in this case and drill a little bit deeper, because I've heard about this issue before, and as robotics becomes more advanced, it's really disturbing how lifelike they are becoming. Across Australia, law enforcement agencies are reporting an increase in the interception of child sex dolls, and there are advocacy groups arguing these products are more than disturbing, that they may be indicators of deeper harm and normalise some pretty dangerous behaviours. So joining us today is campaigner and author Caitlin Roper. Now, Caitlin has long warned about the harms of sex dolls, especially those modelled on children, and their connection to broader issues of exploitation and violence. Hello, Caitlin.
Hi, how are you going?
Not bad. It's a pretty serious topic for a Sunday morning, but thank you very much for coming on board and being part of it with us. We really appreciate your insights. So how does the recent Perth case reflect the broader problems you see with these products?
Well, I think there can be a misconception among some people that they're using a child sex abuse doll. While it might be, it sounds quite horrific, but people sometimes say, but it's disgusting, but it's a victimless crime, or maybe it's even better that the predators act out their fantasies for preying on children on a lifelike doll than an actual child. But the reality is it doesn't work like that. These products fuel real-world harms against children. They fuel child sexual abuse. They normalise and legitimise men's sexual use and abuse of children. And they, even with perpetrators, they encourage escalation. They go from maybe sometimes viewing and consuming CSAM or child sexual abuse material, going from viewing to starting to act out their fantasies for sexual abuse on a replica child, a doll that looks and feels very much like a real child and one that doesn't offer any emotional feedback. So it's actually facilitating this progression. It's allowing these men to practice.
That's exactly what my thought process was as well. And robotics is increasing, so rapidly that some of these dolls really are, you can make them warm. They've got fleshy-like, feeling. They can order them with a different coloured hair. All sorts of features can be ordered to suit the perpetrator.
That's right, and even just the customising of these dolls and the way that their appearance can be customised. So this man, Forbes, what he did was he customised his dolls. He made specifications for the age, the size, the hair colour and eye colour. So for all we know, these aren't just, I'll just choose a brunette or I'll just choose a blonde. These could already be modelled on actual children. Yeah. So the way that these products can be used, it's already facilitating sexual exploitation of children.
Yeah, look, they're practising for their main event, their hideous main event.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about online retailers, platforms and regulators. What responsibility do they have to prevent the importation and distribution of these dolls in Australia?
It's a good question. We actually have very good laws in Australia, probably some of the strongest in the world, if not the strongest. It's illegal to import, advertise, solicit or possess these dolls. They're classified as, or they go under the existing laws against child sexual abuse materials. So we have really good laws. But then we have these mainstream platforms, and I mean mainstream like Etsy, Temu, Shein, platforms like these, and these illegal products had been sold on there. Collective Shout, we've been campaigning for a number of years on this topic and to get these products down from these mainstream retailers. And we have had success with Etsy, Temu, Shein, Alibaba, made in China. But what we're looking at now is Amazon, because we're calling on Amazon to stop selling these dolls because they are continuing to fuel this demand. If all you have to do is go on Amazon to find illegal child sexual abuse material, and they will advertise it, they will display it, and they will send it. Like, apart from being in violation of Australian law, they're facilitating crimes of violence against children. They're supplying pedophiles and predators with these tools that they will use to sexually abuse children.
You'd think there would be some way that the government could very simply step in and say, no, all that is blocked, that bit's blocked. And if you don't block it, then I'm sorry, Amazon, you don't operate in Australia.
Well, that's right, and that's what happened in France with Shein a couple of months ago when it came out to the French government that Shein was selling illegal child sex abuse dolls. They said, if you don't stop this, we're going to block your access to the French marketplace. And that then became global news, and that forced them to act. So it's possible we may need Australian government to step in and say, if you're going to continue to facilitate the sale of illegal CSAM and profit from it, then we're going to step in and say, you actually don't get to do that anymore. You don't get to operate in Australia.
I think that's a really good idea. Where can we go to get on board and voice our feedback about this?
Well, what we are doing right now is we have a campaign calling on Amazon right now to stop selling child sex abuse dolls. We called them out first in November after we discovered them. We found listings advertising the products for, quote, enthusiasts of flat chests, posing childlike dolls alongside soft toys and going into details about the specifications of their bodies and the penetrable orifices and all of those things. So it's very clear what they are. We called on Amazon CEO Andy Jassy to ban the products off Amazon completely. And we've just had, the response has been silence, although he did block me on X. So they can't say they don't know, they just don't want to hear about it. So we've made it really easy for our supporters to take action. We just say, head to collectiveshout.org. We have an action button, which basically you just click and you put in your name and it will send an email for
so
you.
what was that address again? It was the... collectiveshout.org. We've had 1,000 of our supporters already sent emails, so we just really want to get the message out to Amazon that this is not acceptable, that the public will not stand back and just tolerate this, that they need to make changes. It's not good enough. God, no, this is never, ever acceptable, ever, in anyone's wildest imagination, except for those who are depraved. Do you find you get sort of any hate mail or any pushback from that sort of portion of the community? I'm not even calling the community, individuals.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of hate, a lot of what I do find particularly is promoting myths and misinformation, the idea that it's a victimless crime, that it could prevent child sexual abuse, and maybe this is actually the answer. We should be promoting more of this. But the idea that we just need to sexualize and objectify little girls and toddlers and even infants as appropriate objects for men's sexual use and abuse, and sort of normalize and encourage that and allow them to practice, and that's where the solution lies. That's some pretty faulty logic. So it's a lot of calling out the misinformation and even just the transparency of that, who is making these arguments and who benefits from those arguments. But there's definitely been pushback. I feel these days the greater population has just a better awareness of these issues, and I suppose an awareness of child sexual abuse in the community and in daycare centres. So it is a real concern around the safety and safeguarding of children in the community.
Okay, and I hope that every single person that's listening to 6PR now in this interview jumps on board and they jump onto the collectivesite.org and they voice their opinion and their negativity about it and force the government and force Amazon and these sites to do something about it, because it's not acceptable and we need to protect our kids. And the fact that, they can now program these dogs to say things like, no, don't stop, you're hurting me. I mean, that is just that beggars absolute belief. So, Caitlin, thanks for the time with us this morning. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.